Okay, so this recording is going to go over some of the issues that came about with what we're doing the last time, a little loose ends to tie up and things like that. So the first one, probably one of the biggest ones that we're going to look at here, is an issue with the Flickr search itself. So if I click search here, I get my thumbnails, great, but let's say I do another one, trees. You notice that the search doesn't show up properly. You may see a few at the bottom here, but overall this search doesn't really show up properly. And we're going to take a look at why that is the case. So if we go into the main here, I'm going to go down to my show thumbnails function. And so what this here is this shows our thumbnails, and it uses in it this X position and Y position. And basically the problem is that when the search is over and we're doing a new search, we haven't reset the X and Y position. So it's kind of going a little bit too far and things are getting messed up there. So what we want to do is reset that before we start scrolling through everything here. And basically we already have a function to do that. If we go back up and look at our setup functions up here, right, we have the setup search grid function. So what I'm going to do is just call that function as well each time right before I show thumbnails. So I'm going to show thumbnails here, reset the search grid variables. So this is another reason it's good to have these things out as functions, is if you need to use it at some point and reset it or whatever, like we're doing here, we can do that. So let's save that, and now let's run it again. So I'll do my search. There we go. And now we do our other search. And there you have it. So now they're showing up. So let's stay on here for a second and look at the next issue that we have, which is a lot of this extra stuff around the edges here. So we can sort of see behind this big image all the other stuff. And this is actually a relatively easy one to fix, no action script involved. So I'm going to go back to our little diagram here. So remember, this whole box was 650 pixels wide by 550 pixels tall. So essentially what I'm going to do to block out all the other stuff is create a black square behind all that things in Flash in that clip. So I'm going to go into our library and go in here to image, and I'm going to look at the timeline really quickly, and I'm going to add in a new layer here, but I'm going to drop it all the way to the bottom. Let's call this background. And then we're going to get a black square. And I'm going to just draw it out first here a little bit. It's going to be a bit hard to see. So just clicking on that square there, I'm going to click the eye, get info. And so it's going to be at least 650. Now I'm going to go over a little bit just to make sure that I cover anything up if I don't center it right. So instead of 650, I'll go over 10 pixels on each side, 670. And the width 550, I'll go to 570 on that. Okay, and then we're also going to center it to our, to stage here, I meant to do. Alright, so now we have this background here. We can lock that in, and so now we have our background as a solid color. And it could be something else depending on what movie you're doing. But basically, now what I should get is, when I click on that larger image, I'll get the black background in there. Alright? And while we're on this page, there is another one that we want to deal with, which is on our tags, the last one gets a comma in that. And so that is an ActionScript thing to change. Let's take a look at that in our ActionScript. So that's in show photo here. So we're in the show photo function. And this is our little tags loop that's looping through our photo tags and doing our append text here. So what I want to do here is in that do a little if statement to say, well, if it's the last one, I want to do it in a little bit different way. So if, and then somehow last one, and then we'll do else if it's not the last one here. So there's two ways to it actually. One is if it's the last one, or one if it's everything but the last one. So the last one is going to be basically the photo tags dot length minus one. So it's that one there. So if I is equal to photo tags dot length minus one. Now this is actually going to cause a little bit of an issue here, and I'll show you, talk about why in a second, and what we can do about that. So let's click on our flower again. Right? Actually, no, it's not going to cause an issue. Sorry. Maybe I put some code in there. That's why. There we go. All right. So we just added in without anything else. It's the last one. Okay. So let's see if that works now. There's our photo. Click on it, and there we go. It doesn't have anything at the end there. All right. Pretty nice and simple. So the next thing I want to tackle here is that this, where it says here search results for, I actually want to show some different information there. So that's when we get our results back, we want to show some information. So excuse me, that's on. We'll stick with it on a new function here. So when we get it back, we got on search results here. We have show thumbnails, and I'm going to say show results info. Actually, for now, I'm just gonna put it in here because more quickly. This is really only on a search, so I'm gonna leave it like this because this is specific to search, so I don't need another function for it. And just to remind you here, I'm gonna put a little clear all my breakpoints here, and then put one in here. And what I want to get is information about how many photos were found and what was searched for and so forth. So let's just take a look at where we can get that from. Okay, so here's an E, and here's data, and photos. So the first one, remember it's photos that has the actual array of photos, but this one tells us here. So I'm just going to put little comments in here, e.data.photos.page, right? We're also going to look at dot pages and dot per page, that tells us how many we have, and total. All right, so we're going to take those pieces of information, the page, pages per page, and total, and use that to write out what we did. And let's see, was there something else I wanted to capture out of here? Okay, not for now. There will be a couple things in this display that could get tweaked even more, but I don't think I'm gonna take the time to do that now. So I'm gonna write here, let's just remind ourselves what that was. So I'm gonna go back in my library to the search, and that text field is search title txt. Okay, so in terms of our search, that now we need to be able to write something for that. And so one of the issues that we haven't really dealt with yet is when we start it, right, we set our search equal to a new search here. So that's a property, search. And so that's how we can refer to it now here in the results when we get these back. So we didn't use that with the show photo, but we'll use it here because we didn't create a property for that. There we go. So search dot, and then let's look at that again. I forgot it already in talking. Search title txt. Right, and maybe title is not the best one with what I'm going to put in. So I'm going to just write showing page plus e.data photos page of e pages plus pages. All right, let's just see how that looks when we do it. Ah, whoops. I have a little error here, expecting a semicolon. It says before of. I forgot the plus sign here, really, not the semicolon. Okay. Another one. Implicit coercion of unrelated type string to an unrelated type flash text.text field. Okay. I meant to write here, which I didn't. I'm setting the text field. I really want to set the text property of that text field. Okay, so a couple small errors there, and here we go. Let's do our search. All right, so now it says showing page 1 of 176,433. Okay, now I could write some more code to put commas in here. There are some ways to do that. I'm not going to show that right now. You can either try it on your own, look up in line, and how to add these commas, and how to format that. So for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. This is showing pages. You could put in total results here if you wanted to, and so forth, using that information. The per page, the total, that's the total number, and so forth. But just for now, I just wanted to at least put that piece in there. So one final piece, and I'm going to see if I can find an image that will highlight this. It's hard to find. This description here actually allows people to put in HTML text, which I'm not even finding one that has a description at all. Alright, so if they have just a plain description, it's just going to show up fine there in the description. Can't see if there's anyone. That looks fine too. It's possible though for people to put in descriptions. There we go. Here's one. Good. So this orchid here. So you see how it has actual HTML and stuff here with links, right? So to fix that one there, and hopefully you'll remember that orchid picture, what we're going to do is when we show that link in our show photo method here, instead of saying our description txt.text, it's going to change that to HTML text for the description and show photo. So now let's run it again and search. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of these images slowly move down the page. It just shows you how quickly images are uploaded there. Alright, and then this actually is an image here now. You'd have to add a style sheet here if you wanted it to be in such a way where they could, style the images differently and so forth, but those links will work if they put links in there and things like that. So that's actually one last little piece to fix this up a little bit.